What's up, Internet? Have you ever seen an interview with Amazon executives? It's a very weird thing, if you've ever seen it before, because every single time, guess what happens? They always say this: the customer is our obsession. We are obsessed with the customer experience. It makes sense because if you want to be the biggest company in the world, number one, you have to provide the most value out of any company in the world. And having an obsession with customer experience is the only way to do that, because in a capitalistic society, what is rewarded? If you think about it, like, what businesses thrive? It's the ones, one, ethical. That's the bare bones. You got to have that. If you're not that, then you're not going to make it in business. But the second thing, most important thing, is if you can get the ethical thing down, you're actually going to last in business for a while if you go above and beyond for every single customer and every single client that you have. Because what's going to end up happening in a capitalistic society is, okay, here's this value. It's a perceived value that they latch on. You hook the fish, and you're reeling it in. But to actually pull it out of the water, you have to deliver on that value that you promised. And once you do that, all of his other fish homies are going to come by and they're going to be like, I want to get I want to get scooped up too on your boat. So then all these other fish are coming on. They're like jumping. You see the fish jumping from the river onto the boat. It's like that's what all the fish start doing, because they're like, hey, my homie John the fish, he was like, bro, you got to get on this boat. This dude's awesome. He's like the best in the entire industry for that thing, right? He's like, he's the best. He's the best. And they're like, well, I want the best. So they jump, Okay, crazy analogy, but it's true. It's the kind of the way things happen. And why Amazon grew so exponentially is Bezos was able to not only convince customers that his idea was worth them their money, and once they realize, oh my God, it actually is, they stay with him for life, right? So lifetime customers that are willing to pay Prime, every month, $140 a year or whatever it is. I think it's even more now. It's like 50% of every household in the United States has Prime. He was not only able to convince customers, he was able to convince investors too. Like, hey, we're literally not gonna make any money. We're gonna be totally unprofitable, but you're investing in the future right now. So he was able to do that. And he said the hardest thing in an interview, he said, is the hardest thing he ever did in the entire time starting Amazon was trying to get the first few angel investors. And he had to go to I'm sure it was like hundreds of meetings, right? Just to get a few people to just, probably not going to make our money back. Like, literally, he was saying in the meetings, he's like, there's like a really good percentage chance that you will lose all of your money. And he said 75% chance you'll lose all your money. And he's like, and that was being generous. He's like, but he said that, and they were like, okay. And they got on board. And it's just the power of not only creating a perceived value, but delivering on that. And the way I've been able to do it, let me actually show you. The way I've been able to do it is I have candy that I put in every single order. And today I got a response that was amazing. And I'll put it on screen. But a customer's like, this is unbelievable that you'd take the time to put little pieces of candy in a bag and put it in the box. And what that has done, because it's going above and beyond, like, by far. And with what I sell, I also put like a packing slip in there, and like that's like a big deal. They're like, no way you put a packing slip. Like, other sellers don't do this. It's like, I don't even think other sellers know you can print a packing slip. So it's crazy. And you can like customize it. It's insane. But when I do things like that, like it cut my returns in half, right? And when they do return stuff for whatever reason, they're very nice about it. And even then I'm like, no, it's fine. Just like take all your money back. And they're like, what do you mean? Like, like that's like no, you deserve all your money back because we messed up. I mean, I'm in the position with my business model where I can actually have the lowest price on the market. I can provide amazing returns of partial refunds if I have to, and I can just provide this just stellar experience. And by doing that, I end up becoming the biggest store on eBay, right? Like they're in all of my categories. I plan on being number one in HVAC, electrical, plumbing. Lighting is a category that I will probably, I already am the king of, because I ended up, this goes directly into my point of today's video. Like it's crazy. I had a guy who had a warehouse selling these electrical parts, and he was showing me like, oh, take these little parts, yeah, let's try to sell these. But I did such a good job on like a little shelf, like literally it was like that much stuff. And I was like, all right, I'll drive 3 hours to go get it. And I went above and beyond for the guy. He was like, that's amazing. I have a second floor of, and this is like what I see behind him as he's telling me this. He's like, I have a second floor of all this stuff that you could take. And as business owners do, they exaggerate. They're like, oh, it's good stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. And he ended up selling the business. And the next guy, this investor, he took over the business, and he's like, I heard you were doing such an amazing job selling this guy's parts. Do you want to see all the parts we have? And I was like, is it the second floor of the warehouse? He's like, oh yeah. I go up there. This is all I see. I'm like, oh, it's being electrical, really nice, expensive parts. This is all I see. And he's like, dude, I don't know what to do. I'm gonna throw it away. I know it's a lot. Like, I'll put pictures of like it was dozens of rows of shelves, and he was like, I don't know what to do. Like, he was like really upset about it. He's like, we didn't know he had like all of these light bulbs that some of these are like banned and not even allowed to be sold. We have no way of getting rid of it. We don't really want to throw it all away. Like, that's such a waste. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna sell every single one of them for you. He's like, what do you mean? Like, you can't? That doesn't work. I'm like, I actually can, because I saw on eBay, and there's a lot of buyers for light bulbs like this. And I didn't really know that at the time. I was like, I'm pretty confident I can sell all of these light bulbs. The customer got the best possible price that's ever faced the the surface of the internet. Like, on eBay, it was like when I listed this stuff, they're like, no way I'm getting, this box of 10 bajillion light bulbs for $20. Like, they're like, oh my God. Like, normally it's like people on there selling it for $1 or one light bulb for $8. And it's like, now I'm just gonna sell 50 for 20. Like, that's like the thought process I had. And by bulking everything up just to get it moving, I moved pretty much every single light bulb. Like, I still have some left, but I'm gonna bulk those up even harder, so they'll sell too. So even with really difficult stuff, like, I'm able to move it because I'm just providing I'm not being greedy. I'm like, hey, everybody's gonna win here, and the company's very happy. They're getting paid every month. They've been getting thousands and thousands of dollars for these light bulbs that they were gonna throw away. And that's my business. I honestly plan, and I don't just plan on it. I am actively trying to change the way entire industries handle obsolete inventory. Might as well share a Jeff Bezos quote. This one was really, really cool. I'm going to read it here from my computer. I posted it on my story on Instagram. Here we go. I'll put it on the screen too. It is human nature to overestimate risk and underestimate opportunity. Human nature. Everybody feels that, right? Oh my God, there's so much. This is going to go wrong. Even things that, like, you can't even, you're coming up with that don't exist. Things that don't exist at all. Where you're like, okay, but this could happen. Oh, and then that other thing that could happen too. Oh man, I bet that thing will happen. Oh, that too. Oh man, I can't do it. There's no way. Because you start thinking like that, but you're not even thinking about the opportunities that are there. It's like, yeah, that could happen. That's cool. but your perception is capped. It's all you can see. The risk is smaller than you perceive, while the opportunity is bigger than you perceive. That's the craziest realization that I've had in business so far. And you can't really have it. You can't, I can tell you it, but you have to experience it. For me, I had an impossible task that came up where it was several box trucks worth of parts. It was like $1 million worth of parts. And I was like, okay, this is going to be incredibly difficult. Like I'm going to have to go fast. Everything has to happen fast in business. I was like, I got to figure this out right now. And this seems impossible. And I'm going to work so hard, I'm going to get sick. Ended up getting sick. I knew it was going to happen. I was like, this is going to take everything out of me. And I took it head on, and I was fast. I was quick. I had like plan A, plan B, plan C, just in case everything went wrong. And I diagrammed the whole warehouse. I was like, okay, this is where these things are going to go. And I made it work, and I made it happen. And it was like nonstop working for a month straight, but I got it done. And by achieving that perceived impossible task, now I'm like, okay, what's 10 more of those $1 million pickups? To get $10 million in inventory, I just got to do that 10 more times. And it's going to be easier the next time. It's probably going to be easier the third time. And you know what? By the fifth time, it's probably going to be really easy. And by the fifth time, I'm probably going to even be thinking about, let's try to get $2 million worth of stuff in one go. You know what I mean? It's like your perception just widens to such a degree that you think you can just accomplish anything. I'm on a roll. Let me make sure the camera's rolling. That's all I need. The camera always shuts off when I get going. I just jinxed. Okay, knock on wood. We're good. I realized that I can achieve anything. I can get any company, any size, any dollar amount. And by literally glitching through the matrix, I know it's cheesy to say, but it's true. It's very true. Your perception just widens. You're like, okay, I can accomplish anything. And once you're there, then you start changing the world. And when Jeff Bezos went from selling books to, wait, maybe I could sell everything out there. And he started selling everything out there. He's like, oh, I can sell everything in the universe on Amazon. He's like, oh, because in interviews, he was like, I'm going to sell kayaks on Amazon. They're like, what do you mean, Bezos? You're selling books, bro. Like, you ain't going to sell a kayak. He's like, yeah, I'm going to sell a kayak. And I'm not only going to sell the kayak, I'm going to sell the trip that the guy goes to go on that kayak ride. I'm going to sell that experience, to go on that kayak ride. And you know what? I'm going to actually, like I'm going to direct him to go to that kayak ride, like on a map. Like, he's like, I'm just going to conquer everything. Like, I'm just going to be everywhere. Amazon will be everything. Okay. To finish my thought, because I was rudely interrupted by my technology breaking on me, because it always does when I start cooking. Everything just breaks on me. The mic will stop working. What happened was the stand for my phone just like died. So then the phone, So the risk is smaller than you perceive, while the opportunity is bigger than you perceive. Once you get that figured out, right? It's a crazy realization. I'm telling you guys. You have to be biased against that. Call it confidence, but it's really just compensating against human nature. Thinking small is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It comes off as this guy is out of his mind. This is crazy that that's so risky. Like, that's like, it's so much risk that this might ruin this guy's life. Like, it's like it's such a crazy thing to see from the outside, but they don't see what you see, right? You're the only person in the world maybe that even sees this. So you have to completely flip and be against human nature. That's why I've said since I was selling candy in high school, I want to do that the rest of my life. I want to sell things the rest of my life. I love this. This is amazing. I want to do this the rest of my life. And I'm going to go left when everyone goes right, everyone goes right, and while they're going right, they're like, come over here, this is the only way to go. And I'm like, nah, I'm good, and here I go. Going, I mean, I'm every time, because in order to do what I feel like I need to accomplish, I have to literally be against human nature. It's kind of a crazy realization that you have to go against, like, the way you think. I mean, it's the same as like doing hard things when you're uncomfortable. It's like your body is like, no, don't get in the ice bath, buddy. Like, we're not ready for this. You just woke up 2 hours ago, you psychopath, and then you jump in the ice bath, and your body's like, all right, guess you won. Joe Rogan calls it the general in his head. The general won today. Not my little bitch body. Because he's like, every time he goes to the ice bath in the morning, which he does every day, which is kind of insane, he's like, the general won today. The inner bitch is there. He's like, it's always there. The monologue is in his head always, all the time. I don't want to do this. Don't do it. I mean, you come on, just go lay down and go under the covers. He's like, nah, I'm jumping in the ice bath. And he jumps in, and there he is. And he's recording it on Instagram for 30 minutes straight. Just, got that video on Instagram. I saw that video, and I watched it for 30 minutes straight. I was like, when is it going to end? I was like, when is he going to get out of the butt? He's like, it's 32 degrees. He was like, it's by the way, it's 32 degrees, and he's been in there for 40 minutes, and it's like, when are you going to get out of this thing? Like, this is insane. But that's what it's all about. I mean, that's why people start being a fighter, right? A UFC fighter. Like, I'm into it right now. The UFC, man. It's like, those guys realize this is the hardest thing I could possibly do, because it's going to be the most uncomfortable thing I could possibly do, is get punched in the face, but I'm going to do it. And they find out who they are as a person in the UFC. They really get out into the uncomfortable area of life, and everything gets revealed to them. So if you ended up going right, with everybody else, you followed the flock, you might just have to kill your shepherd and just escape. You might have to be that black sheep that just like runs away, because you have to get out of that. You can't be there, especially if you feel it in your bones. Like, you gotta get out of that. Like, yeah, I ain't supposed to be here with these people. Like, I gotta go do my own thing. Especially right now, like, young men are, in my generation, are lost, and they're just forgotten about, right? There's no question about it. And you almost have to become the outlier and be like, okay, there's no jobs. I have to literally make jobs. Okay? Like, that's what I had to do. I was like, okay, there's absolutely no opportunities for me, because everything's screwed up. And I'm not going to become a victim. So I'm just going to do the incredibly difficult thing of just making jobs and becoming a business owner and building a company from nothing. It's like, it's going to be insanely hard, but I'm going to do it. And you have to do something like that sometimes in life to escape the normalcy, escape the trajectory that you're forced down. When they were telling me, you gotta go to college, buddy, you gotta go to college, sign this thing. I'm like, no, what? Ripped it. I was like, I ain't doing this. No way. They gave me my diploma. I'm like, Mom, where's my diploma? I need to go burn that thing. Like, I swear, I was like, I ain't going to graduation. I didn't go. And I still, to this day, do not know where my mom hid the diploma. I want to burn that thing. Did absolutely nothing for me. I realized literally schooling, that's a tangent. We need to chill. I always get into that tangent somehow, because I absolutely hate school. I think it's a total, complete waste of time. There's a study that found that out of 12 years of schooling in the public schools in the United States, 2 years after you leave, you only remember 3 weeks worth of your courses. At that point, I was like, I'm done. I'm only going to school to sell candy, and that's what I did. But you have to do these things. You have to be blatantly disrespectful to the system in place, because the system in place is broken. You have to break the rules. The rules are meant to be broken sometimes because the rules suck sometimes. So that's what I've learned, and I'm gonna stick to my guns on that. And because it has resulted in a absolutely fulfilling, awesome life so far, and I have so much more to do. So I'm just gonna keep running it up and going left when everybody goes right. And I suggest you do too if you feel like you're not in a good spot. You gotta do that. And I believe in you. You can do it. And just see what happens. Go do hard things. Go get out of the comfort zone and just see what happens. I promise, it'll be good. That's all. I'm gonna end the video here because I keep going. Like always, I can just go and go because it's fun. These videos are fun. I love making these videos. I hope you have as much fun watching them as I have making them. And I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go kick some ass. Go conquer whatever your dreams can possibly be. Just do it.